So what's best for your plants is rainwater. Rainwater, rainwater, rainwater. And then some people say, well, what about pond water? Well, it depends on the pond. It depends on what the pond is catching when it rains. If you are near farmer fields and you have a retention pond that the fields have drained off into, you may have fertilizer, you may have herbicides in there, and other things that maybe you're not going to want in your water for your plants. It may harm your plants. If you live near cattle fields, you may have horse dung or horse diseases or cow diseases, or even if you're near chickens, if it's by your chickens, you're going to have waste there. I mean, you have to think about everything for water. Water always goes downhill. Water always wins, but water always goes downhill. So think about everything else that comes downhill with it. Like, I'm near a main road, and if I were to make a pond near the road, I know that in the wintertime, the salt is going to come down in there. I know that somebody's leaky gas tank spills are going to come down here, or oil is going to come down here, or antifreeze, or brake fluid, or whatever it is going to drain into the water if I decided to make a pond right next to the road or near the road. So you have to think about that. And so that's why I'm not a big fan of ponds as the water source. You can use it, it's water. But if you're having problems growing your plants and you're using pond water, you might rethink it a little bit. The other thing is, people say, what about streams and rivers? Again, do you know exactly what's coming from upstream to down? And again, if this is the only water source you have and your plants are doing well, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not having success, or if the leaves keep turning yellow, if the plants are not reaching their full maturity, like you put in a perennial in decent soil, 5 years ago, and it's still kind of small, and it hasn't just said, oh, I'm growing, something's wrong somewhere. So you have to kind of do some investigating and see. So first is rainwater. Even if it comes off your roof, and maybe there's little gravel thingies from those things that cover roofs, shingles. Even if that's in the water, that doesn't matter, because those are usually going to fall down to the bottom, and you're not drinking the water. The plants are drinking the water. Some people will catch not the black water. Black water, like in RV terms, that's where the feces is. You don't want that. But some people will use their gray water on shrubs and trees they're not going to eat from, or they're not going to harvest things from, or they're not going to take leaves and use those in recipes from, or something like that. They may use those, they may have run a line actually for their gray water to go right to their shrubs and trees, and like some kind of irrigation system, and go for it. So gray water is like your hand washing from your sinks, your dishwashing, showers, but it's not feces, not necessarily, no, not like black water, but it's still, rainwater's best. Second best is going to be your city water. And yes, city water is chlorinated. So what you do is you fill up your containers with your city water. You leave them overnight so the chlorine has time to dissipate. You leave them outside or near outside, so they're about the same temperature as your plants, and they're about the same temperature as their soil, so you don't shock them. So city water in containers is your next best water. Well water's good if it's not the softened well water from your house, from inside the house. Your hard water can be used from your well. That's the kind that has like the orange tint to it, and it leaves like orange stains on things. You could use hard water, but you have to think about the additional iron that's going to be in your soil and what you might have to do to amend that and like compensate for that. But you don't want the soft water, because there's salts in there, and eventually the salt will build up around your plants, which is going to be bad for them. And I think I'm forgetting something. Oh, hose water. Well, Tam, why can't I just not use a hose? Listen, you do what you want to do. But if I was going to do it, if I have plants I treasure, and I'm just like, especially if I'm just starting them out, I don't necessarily want to use the hose. I would use the hose to fill my buckets, to keep them overnight, so the chlorine will dissipate, so that I can use them for the next day. But hose water can be super cold. It also could be super hot, and you don't realize that necessarily. So and it's also, even if you use like a slower mister kind of thing on your hose water, I mean, it might be too much for the plant to handle. It might be too much force for that plant. Or, I don't know. I've used hoses before, and I have accidentally cooked my plants, like boiled them because the water was too hot. And I've accidentally shocked them because it was a really, 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 really hot day, and the hose water came out cold first thing in the morning and shocked them. That's not fun. So those are some considerations. And it's dark. I gotta go in.